Welcome to another edition of Schooling Around, Oxford Television's way of discovering our Oxford School District. Today we're going to have a look at our robotics program, or as they say across the street, Team Torque 2137. There are many extracurriculars out there to help kids build skill sets to prepare them for the real world. There are other robotics programs as well. Ours is connected to a world organization called FIRST. Every year, FIRST puts out a game plan for the robotics teams all over the world, so they know what they will be working toward in that year's competitions. These teams are comprised of adult mentors, students, and teachers who start from ground zero and work toward getting sponsors, planning their project, and building their machine. The kids are a diverse bunch, coming from grades 9 through 12, some international students, all working together towards the same goals. Earlier this year, we paid a visit to their lab. At this point, they had qualified in the state competition to go on to Worlds in St. Louis. Most of the work had been done, so we did some backtracking with the kids on what took place up until then. Junior Stephanie Chismadia tells us about the team and how it all comes together.
First is about taking kids from high school and introducing them to STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So they created this atmosphere where you get to build something in a short time period so it's relatable to a real life experience. So we build robots, and we start out by building a robot, and over years we get to build more than just robots. We build problem solvers, we build leaders, we build people that can do anything that they want to do. Talk in public, anything. So First releases the game in January, and so you get the game on the first week of January.
When you say they get the game, does that mean they tell you?
They give the game, there's a day, the first Saturday of January. There's a whole day where they set up a program where you can go to universities or set areas, or you can watch it on a live broadcast. So they talk about FIRST, they talk about engineering, they talk about the sponsors that they have for FIRST, and they talk about all sorts of things, and then near the end, they give us the game.
And what does that mean? They give you the game. Is that your plan or what?
No, they give us the, every year they make a little animation that describes the game. So this year there was what looked like the field made up in CAD and a computer program. So they made up the field, and they made up some robots, and they had them play the game out with some simple instructions on how to play the game.
So by game, you mean a game,
the game.
A game of checkers. Forgive me for my banality, but that's the kind of thing you're talking about.
Yes.
You're starting to play a new game, and who are you playing against?
Well, we don't know who we're playing against because there are 3 robots, so 3 teams on every alliance. So at regionals, at the beginning, it's random, so you don't know who you're paired with, and then in eliminations, you pick. So at each competition you go to, the people that you're with changes, and the people that you're against changes.
And I suppose when you start, in the initial competitions would be people from probably your own area.
Yeah, that's generally how it works.
And then as it progresses, the chances widen as to, exactly, when you reach the state competitions, you could be playing against people from the Upper Peninsula, you just don't know. Well, and now that you've won states, that's even a bigger field, isn't it?
Yes, there's actually 5 fields at Worlds. So in Michigan, every team has to go to 2 regionals. So over those 2 regionals, you get a series of points. So awards that FIRST gives out, you get a certain amount of points. And when you see, so if you win the regional competition, you get a number of points. So there's things like that where there's a point scale. So over the 2 regionals, your points add up. So you have to be in the top 64 teams in Michigan to make it to states, according to those point system. So then at states, they do the same thing. where they take the point system continues, and depending on the points you gain at states, you can go to worlds. The top 40 teams at states, at Michigan States, goes to worlds, plus the chairman winners.
Okay, and where have you guys placed so far?
Well, at states we placed in 7th at the ending, and right now we're 39 in the world, and we're 22 in the world currently.
Okay, so the next step for you guys
Is the World Championship in St. Louis.
when we come back, we'll take a look at their lab. You are watching the Michigan American Legion Station of the Year for the 4th year in a row, Oxford Community Television. The robotics lab is much like a business, with an advertising division, computerized project planning, and a manufacturing section. Let's take a look around. All right, guys, tell me a little bit about what you're doing here.
Well, I programmed the robot through, I use a program, I program in C++, which is what
programming language.
Yeah, it's what most, so a lot of programs are used to program like in the real world, like a lot of Microsoft stuff is written in C++, a lot of video games are written in C++, and I was actually just working on my own video game right now, and it's like a first-person game, and
You haven't been slacking off, have you?
No, I just been practicing my C++ skills since we're programming the robot this year in LabVIEW. The robot, there's different like states the robot's in, and sometimes the robot's like if it's depending on the situation, it's in different states, and then we read the user input and make it go during teleop. We read user input.
We use an Xbox controller to control the robot.
Yeah.
And what he means by states is like what the robot's microprocessor is, like the miniature computer on the robot, is what signals are being sent to it. And if certain control, let's say the joystick is moved forward, it will read that it is, and it will set what we specify it to do. We say if the joysticks move forward, the robot, the motors will spin at a certain speed. That's what a state is. It's telling it what it needs to do at that time.
Okay, so first you've got the guys over there on the CADs who work up the basic designs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then once you know that, you can do your thing over here at the same time as the guys over in fabrication do their thing,
yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can do basic.
we program. This year's been a little bit different. We've gotten a lot of the robot's was built really fast this year, but other years, Wes, the senior, he programs it in LabVIEW, and a lot of the years, and in E2, and a lot of the years they're stuck. Like they'll write their code, and then when they finally get the robot done, they'll have like 3 days to test it, and they have to get it. It's really a rush, a lot of years. But this year it wasn't too much of a rush because we got a lot of stuff done.
You guys do what you were doing.
Yep.
Yeah, we built 2 robots in the time. We built our prototype, and then we got we fixed all the problems, and there weren't that many, but then we made the final product. We usually only make 1 robot, so that helped a lot.
Okay, and this fellow back here, what's your role in all this?
I am the graphic designer for the team. I help create the, not really like the logos because the logo's already set, but as you can see here, this is just a dry erase board that we took and just put all the logos of sponsors and other teams that we have in the competition, and we just drew it out on a dry erase board. I had to take that and I had to convert it into a vector image, which is basically just like paint, just more in depth. So I had to get all these logos onto a computer so we could print it out, and that's basically what I did for the better half of the season.
So, and once you print it out,
we display it, and it gets us more points for chairmans because it helps to describe our branding and show that we are more connected with the community. This right here shows that we are connected with different businesses within the community and different schools.
all right, let's take a look at some of those businesses, okay? Why don't you point some out to us? And I'll take pictures as we go.
Yep. There's the J&T Electric Supplies, and Pink and Charlie, the Art Capsule, Mazda Auto Parts. Then we have the local embroidery shop, Oetjens, our sandwich shop, and Verdict Street Landscaping. These are all companies within the community that we feel like are the ones that kind of define us and kind of say, hey, when you come into Oxford, these are the ones that you see the most.
Now, some of these folks, maybe all of these folks, gave you money,
Yes.
but did any of them give you anything else, like help you make parts or get parts? Or
I believe the Verdict Street might have, I'm not 100% sure on what they all gave, but Verdict Street could have helped us with some supplies like wood or some tools. Not 100% sure, so I'm not going to go in depth with that.
okay, I see a check over there for $3,000. Is that? Oh, that's from last year.
Yep, that's from last year. That's from the BBC in China. BCC, not BBC. BCC, it's the Beijing Channel Consulting. It's basically just a Chinese group that fundraises us because we bring in Chinese students from, different schools. So they help fundraise us.
In a moment, we'll hear how the contest works. Back in the robotics lab, we hear more about the competition.
Your next stop for programming.
Okay, this is your practice robot, right?
Yeah. We built two this year because we wanted to have time to test the driving. So yeah, I'm the mechanical captain, so I work on like the fabrication, or not fabrication, but building the robot.
And I'm the mechanical co-captain. So I'm Monday.
So
Does she remind you of that all the time?
No. Jackson.
we work pretty well together. It's a good. It's good. So there's so much to do that, like either I'm doing something and she's doing something completely different, or we're working together on something. Just because there is so much, all the different mechanisms.
Especially in the pits at competition, it's nice. It's good that we work so well together because sometimes we don't have a lot of time in between matches, and we can just get it all done real quickly.
Now, what's the importance of this robot here?
Alright, this one's our practice spot. We built two because we wanted to have time to practice driving, so our drivers could get as much behind the wheel time, I guess, as possible. And then they test code to make sure that like the autonomous and the driving works right. So it's just extra practice. And then also at the competitions we can take the parts off and use them for our competition robot if one of the parts breaks. So we can just come to this one and take it off.
So the mechanisms, like this arm roller is a mechanism that comes off quickly by just taking out a shaft and loosening some bolts. So we just take the arm off of our practice spot and take it with us into our next competition. So that way if our arm, like if the welds break on our competition arm, we have a spare and we don't have to spend time running to the trailer, running to the shop that they provide and trying to fix it.
Give me an example of some of the things you have to do at a competition.
We have we kind of have like a pre-match checklist that we have to go through, making sure we have the battery in, making sure the right bumpers are on, all the parts are tight. So just regular maintenance, I guess.
And then if we discover that something's wrong, we also work on fixing that. So at one point our autonomous wasn't working right, and so we figured out what was wrong with it, and then we fixed it.
Is part of the grading dealing with that sort of thing?
Oh, okay, yeah. Judging is the actual competition, like the kind of like the battle of the robots isn't, but they give first gives out awards, like what would this
Like engineering. Yeah.
excellence in engineering. So there are judges that come around to all of the pits and they talk to us about what we do with our robot, what we do outside of our robot, and at times that'll come up, like how we make changes quickly. And they have a criteria list and for different awards and things that fall under that.
Okay, so what happens next in the competition after you get beyond that? What kind of stuff do you have to do with the robot?
I mean, after competition
No,
season?
during the competition.
Oh,
So, well, we have to, at a regular district competition, we have to play 12 matches against three robots, and then we're on a team with 3 robots. So, with
Give me an
2.
example of a match. What exactly does
Okay.
that? Tell me what you do.
All right. So the robot.
so we go through our checklist and then we line up to get queued, which is waiting for our match. So then we put our robot onto the field and we set up our autonomous mode. Autonomous is where no one touches the controls and we have a program that runs the robot for us. So the first 10 seconds of this game is autonomous time. So before the match starts, they line it up with whatever autonomous we're doing, and then the drivers leave and they go behind their stations, behind a line, and then the match will start. They'll wait 10 seconds for the autonomous to be done, and a bell will ring, and then the drivers can go to their stations and start driving. And then it'll be in teleop mode where it's all driver controlled.
And you know the game plan long before this so that you can program all that stuff into it.
Well, actually, our autonomous modes are already programmed into our robot. The programmers can tell you more about that.
You do that. Well, you do that here, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's been done before competition season started. That was part of what the practice robot was for.
Oh.
Was for testing different autonomouses to make sure we got them right.
So what we have like 5 autonomous codes, and then when our drive team talks strategy with the other teams that are on our alliance, they decide like what's going to work best. So one of our autonomous is to sense the hot goal and then shoot in the goal when it's lit up. And so if that was our strategy, if that's what we wanted to do for this match, we would they would like type that in so it would know to shoot that mode. So we have like the pre-programmed autonomous stuff, and then in teleop the drivers just drive it and they have the code to drive straight and move and shoot and stuff like that.
Now, what happens after the autonomous thing? Is there another part to this?
Well, so autonomous is the first 10 seconds, and then a bell will ring, and that's when the drivers go, and that's considered teleop mode. So they're driving the robots for the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds?
Yeah.
2 minutes and 20 seconds, they'll be driving the robot.
Senior Jeff Chung is one of the Chinese students on the team. He has a unique story about taking and giving back.
I'm the mechanical group co-captain, and I'm also the sponsor of this team.
Sponsor?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I win the scholarship last year, and I want to spend like $1,000 on the team to sponsor our team. In thanking for last year, the help of my team to me, and I want to keep. Yeah, I believe our team will be one of the best teams in Michigan.
I believe they will too. That should make you feel pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, more time I would like. Yeah, before like the first time I got here, I'm not really sociable. My English is bad. The first time, yeah, I'm Chinese, made in China, you know. Yeah. The language just, yeah, the first time hurts a lot for me actually. But now I got through, I know more communication skills. I know more to be with students and mentors. Yeah, I learned more engineering skills. I know what is engineering by this program. Yeah, that's why I said, well, I want to sponsor this team. Yeah, it really educated me a lot. And what I said, like I read our motto that said like we are not only build robot. Yes, we are not only build robot. I think like, yeah, the first time last year I saw like our team is like the first wheel of our team, as some other students said there, is that we don't have a very strong robot last year. And well, they said, I said, it's fine. And Hansen said, another Chinese student who was in last year's robotics competition, he already graduated from our high school. He said, like, it's fine. You see, the year before last year, we see our team getting stronger and stronger. And this year, I see what he said last year. And now I'm teaching, like, we also have other Chinese students in this willing to or has already been into this group. And when they say like, how is our robot I've introduced, we are going to be stronger and stronger. And no matter when, now maybe we may lost games, we may not the best robots in Michigan, maybe not the best robot in the world, but we are getting better and better. We are so far where we are building now, not only the robot, but also the experience in the future. What we build, what we do, everything is for the future. And then, I mean, that's why I think that our team have I want to sponsor our team.
When we come back, the kids return from Worlds and we talk with the teacher. Philip Kimmel is the Oxford High School teacher in charge of robotics. He recaps the World's experience.
The team competed in the national and world-known program first in the World Competition Championship there. We were one of 400 teams that had enough points to qualify for the opportunity, and then we actually ended up splitting the 400 teams into 4 100-team divisions, and we took through all of the round-robin games. We ended up taking 4th place in our division of 100 teams. So we weren't fortunate enough to move on into the tournament round where the 4 division winners were playing each other on Einstein Field, they call it. But we were very fortunate to place 4th and had a wonderful trip, and kids were very successful. So FIRST is an organization that doesn't just build robots. They focus on community service, how you've impacted your community and surroundings. And we were presented an award called the Chairman's Award for our efforts in that regard. And so we won that at a district level as well. So,
give me an idea of some of the things the kids did in that regard.
Sure. Well, we have a whole group within our team that is responsible for all of our community outreach. So we've done a lot of things as far as the Oxford Parade. We are very, very heavily tied to our sponsors. If you notice on the robot, we have some of our sponsors here. We always put on a sponsor thank you barbecue for them. And we've also really put an effort into our GoPro slogan. And by that we mean that most of these students right now see and are highlighted by the music careers or entertainment industry, and everybody feels like that's the industry they got to get into, right? Because it's flashy and it's cool. But we want to emphasize people going pro in engineering as well, and that's a viable solution and option for these young students.
Kimmel goes on to explain that this is about more than robotics.
At Oxford High School, we've really put a lot of effort into our engineering program in the last 4 or 5 years here. What we wanted to do was not just have robotics as an option. Wanted to provide opportunity for other students to learn what engineering is as a whole. I was an engineer at Chrysler for about 6 years before becoming a teacher, and I felt that for me, my experience as an engineer can help these students understand what engineering is. We have a lot of students that maybe have parents as engineers or have family as engineers, but they might not necessarily know what engineering is. And so what we wanted to do was provide them with various opportunities.
Titus Shoemaker is a senior. He tells us about some of the scholarships won.
First offers over $18 million in scholarships to the high school students. 3 members of our team won these scholarships. I personally won 3 of them. One of them was a Kettering First Scholarship for $22,500 over the 5-year school period. The second one I won was the ASME Scholarship, and that one is for $5,000 every year. And the third one I won is a Phil Clancy Scholarship sponsored by someone that was involved in FIRST Robotics, and that one is $1,000 per year.
Freshman Zach Spencer, who will be moving to Florida because of his father's job, shares some feelings about Worlds.
It was really interesting to see all the culture and how all of that culture is wrapped into one with being involved with just robotics. It was really interesting to see that huge culture shock, like, hey, those kids are speaking a different language. I kind of wonder what they're saying because we're not used to that. And it was really interesting to go to robotics and how you have all these mass cultures all centering on robotics, and it was really inspiring and really cool to see all these different teams and all these different cultures all combining to compete in one effort in robotics.
Drew Saddam was the driver of the robot. His words.
Anyone can really do anything they want. So, I mean, I was really surprised that I was selected to be the main driver this year, competing with, we had a large number of people who actually tried out this year. So just anything you can kind of set your mind to, even building this robot in 6 weeks, and it's all possible.
I asked one of the mentors how long it takes for the grade divisions to disappear from the minds of the kids. She said about 10 days. The team will be going to some summer competitions. Then in the fall it starts again, the trek to Worlds. We'll be watching. As Stephanie said earlier, it's about more than just building robots. Thanks to Bill Service behind the camera, Kyle Snage at the controls, Ryan Myers for editing, and thanks to you for watching. I'm John Oetjens for Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Everywhere you turn in Oxford is a new opportunity for fun. From the sandy beaches of Stony Lake and Scrifter to the many different sporting events and other recreational activities held at Seymour Lake Park. For those who like long walks, you can find yourself exploring the Pollyant Trail throughout Oxford's more scenic areas. And if it's seclusion you like, look no farther than Oakwood Lake Park. So bring your family or friends out to see one of our beautiful parks today.